Hello, my studio folks. I hope yet another video finds you maintaining this complicated time we are in with a state of grace and serenity. That said, I wanted to talk about this chart, which will be coming to you. And some of you will be home, some of you will be in class, all that good stuff. You'll remember, or recall, that we did a mind map. Central concept being you, or me, however you want to look at it. We're going to be pulling parts of this. And this is the mind map I made for you on the other video. We're going to be pulling parts of this and putting it into a new document that's going to help sort of clarify what we're going to do. You'll see here that this is called a concept development chart. The first step is a summary. It says, using your concept map, write a brief summary of you. Describe you and only pull the essential items from your concept map. So that means, remember back here where I asked the question, do I care? Maybe I leave that out. And maybe I only pull in the parts about making and art and bicycling and maybe my spirituality. Who knows? It's all individual. This is a tool for you, so you can make it as long or short as you need, but the more detail you add, the more you will have to work with. Okay. This will be individual. Everyone's will be different. I actually want to talk about the symbolic translation chart. This is a little different. You'll see that on one side I have thoughts and feelings and translations. Okay? Let me pull some things from my mind map. Why don't we pull creativity? When I think of creativity, I start to visualize things. And that's what this chart is to help us do. It's not what we're going to make. It's to help us start to translate concrete text-based ideas into visuals that we can start to work with to represent things. When I think of the word creativity, I generally think of the color pink. I probably cannot reasonably articulate why, but I do. I think of pink. I think of pink and sort of an aqua blue. They're bright. I also think that these are audacious colors. So you remember that one of my values from the mind map was audacity. I think they're audacious. I think creativity is an audacious act. Pink and aqua blue makes sense to me, maybe not to you. Audacity, I also think of sort of a degree of courage. And for some odd reason, when I think of the words courage, I think of charcoal gray. Or black even. Maybe it's different for you. I also think of not wings, but maybe flags whipping in the wind. I don't know, there's something audacious about standing out to the elements, the weather as it's coming in, a big storm and you're standing your ground. There's an audacity to that. And flags do that, flag whipping. These are just me starting to get some visuals in my mind. Creativity also, it's non-linear. So I start to think of, not something that is a narrative that works in a straight line necessarily, where you start here and you end here. No, and instead it's generally quite messy and goes here and comes back and you make mistakes. And that's creativity. Maybe that's all I draw here. It's not about a solution. It's starting to help us visualize. How can we start to represent ourselves visually with symbolic imagery? Let's pull another one, cycling. Cycling's so integral to my life. I'm probably gonna stop after this. Maybe I'll do one more. But cycling, I think of bicycles, and I'm gonna draw one from head on, a flat bar bicycle. Maybe I just draw like a quick little image, a quick little sketch. Maybe it's got its head tube here, the fork is here. Maybe it's a fat tire bike, so let's get a kind of a big fat 29er in there. Maybe it's got disc brakes. Maybe there's a couple cables coming off of it. There's a pedal in there and a pedal down here coming off the bottom bracket. Maybe that's where I stop. Maybe it's an image from the side, where I think of, okay, here's the down tube, here's the top tube here, there's this. Coming off of that is for the back rear wheel, it's in here. The fork comes out here, and there's the front wheel. Maybe it's a drop bar bike, so let's get the curved drop bars. Maybe my saddle's up here. Maybe that's the drawing you make. Maybe it's a color. I think of blue. The reason why is I think of freedom when I ride. I think of cool. And that has to do with, I ride a lot at different times of day, mostly early morning and late evening, and so it's very cool for me, and I usually have to have special, well, not special, but warmer clothes on often enough on even warm days. So these are some imagery that I'm starting to pick up about myself. Let's pick up something different, maybe gaming. You'll notice that there's a literalness here, and then a more poetic quality here. Well, with gaming, maybe you start out with just a dice. You know, maybe it's just a simple dice. And then maybe it moves to, you know, those like 20-sided dice and things like that. We just start with some basic imagery. 2 would be there, 1, 5 would be there. I think, let's do 3. You know, maybe we start with that, and then we go to more advanced dice, like the 4-sided dice, which is a really weird dice. Looks kind of like this, and it has numbers here, here, and here, and you read that number. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it's not about that. Excuse the bell. Maybe I start thinking about gaming pieces. Maybe I think about chess pieces. Now I'm starting to think pawns. Right? Maybe I start to think of other things that relate to games. Maybe I start to think of colors, which I think of red a lot when I game. But you'll see that what I'm doing is I'm pulling the important things from here. I'm putting them into my thought and feeling, which was summarized up here, down into here, and I'm starting to get imagery that when we start to move into the breakdown will help us actually create visual art about ourselves that represent us. May not represent all of us, maybe it's only a small piece of us, but it's about us. All right, that's our concept development chart.